Now, update on the Pathfinder build, off-road build. This is the other rust hole that I was working on. Just got done putting some Bondo over it. It was a pretty large hole, probably a fist size, maybe bigger than a fist size, all the way through into the inner part of this fender. You can see where I welded some steel down there. I haven't cleaned it up yet because it's got a lot of chunks and stuff in there. I haven't been able to grind yet. I gotta set up a little smaller grinding wheel to get in there, but I cleaned it up real good and I'm terrible at welding, but I got the metal to hold. It's nice and strong, and so I gotta put one more plate. You can see I try to attempt to put my next plate in there, but I'm just melting right through that bad boy. It's pretty thin steel, and my welder, I'll be honest, is just terrible. I bought it at Amazon. It works. It's called the Flux 135 Pro. Yes Welder. That's the brand. Yes Welder. Reminds me of Real Good Bread. If you've ever seen Real Good Bread on the shelves at a grocery store, has it right in the name. This is a Yes Welder. Yes, it does weld. No, it doesn't weld very good. But anyway, it doesn't do too bad with heavy steel. But I turned it all the way down. Minimum amperage or whatever the levels are, that doesn't affect anything, just cooks right through the steel. And again, this is pretty thin, but my brother can he's got a very nice welder, and it will weld beads on this thing like nobody's business. And but he's not hanging out with me today. He's got to work, so I gotta use what I got, and that's what I got. So anyway, I'm going to try and get that other plate in there, get this covered up because this is very ugly. Plus, I don't want mud and crap caking in here because that's what caused all that rot to begin with. Not only did it come from that side step that used to be on this thing, it would all collect, run down the side step, and collect right here at this little out pouching. Salt, snow, whatever, mud, rot the hell out of it. But it also would kick off the mud tire or any, the treads and sling it right in this little gap, and there was nothing really there to stop that. I'll show you the other side. This side didn't rot, but if you look there, it has a nice little pocket there. Mud and everything can just shit in there. If you don't regularly clean that out, it's just gonna rot it. And this one didn't do too bad. So whoever owned it before me, probably, because this came from the north further. I live in Maryland, but this is even further than that. I think it was either New York or Philly or Pennsylvania area. But they probably noticed it on this side, kicked it off, cleaned it, but didn't notice so much on their passenger side what was happening. And by the time I got it, there was a rust spot about the size of a quarter. And that's about what it looked like when I started cleaning it. But once I started grinding into it, it just kept going and going. You know how rust goes. It just runs wild. So I'm going to try and make a nice little pocket on this side like the other side. Maybe not as pretty, but I'm going to fill it with some material when I'm done so it won't have so many gaps and crooks and nannies in there, so that it won't rust. I'm going to expect it to rust a little bit. And again, this is me learning, so I don't mind too much about if I had to do this again, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And a year from now, I'd notice some rot again, cut it back out, try it again, maybe have a lot more skill and technical know-how by then, because it'll be a year of me welding. This is only I think the fourth thing I've tried to weld on this truck. None of them have gone particularly beautiful, but hey, when this is done, you're never going to know this happened. I would touch it, but the Bondo is wet right now, but that is solid. I mean, I put a nice piece of steel in there, the size of the hole. I got it tack welded in there. I filled it with fiberglass. I ran a coat of Bondo over it, let it harden, sanded it nice and smooth. This is my second coat of Bondo, and I sand this nice and smooth. By there, I should have all the air and gaps and everything nice and filled in. I'm going to hand sand it after this, and I'll show you the next video, or I'll make another video and show you what this looks like when it's done. I think I'm going to be impressed. And I'll be honest, I'll show this to you guys again. I showed it in another video, but this was a huge hole. I mean, it was straight up from here all the way down here, and I had to cut all this out. And this was another thing I did once a year ago. Didn't get all the rust out. I thought I did. I didn't want to cut huge chunks of this truck are out. So I just took what I thought I needed to. But what I should have done is lopped off a chunk here, lopped off a chunk here, found where the rust gaps were, and just took them all out. And that's what I did on this time. We re-welded this piece in all the way around the side, bent the steel. I filled it with fiberglass. I filled it with Bondo. I mean, it doesn't look brand new. And if you saw the other side, you'd notice a difference. But no one's ever going to notice that when they're hopping in my car. And frankly, I don't give a shit if they do, because this is not going to be a beauty queen. This is my truck to have fun with. And you know, it's going to take a beating, and I'm going to need to know how to fix it, and that's what I'm going to do. So, you know, I'm going to make it look good. She's an old truck, and it's a Nissan. It's not the toughest thing in the world. I mean, it's not a Toyota, let's put it that way. But it's got 180,000 miles on it and runs like brand new. So, I mean, I've done things along the way since I've owned it. It's got a new starter, new alternator. Like I mentioned in other videos, upper lower control arms, the entire front suspension, linkages, ball joints, tie rod ends, everything in the front's replaced. And that's recent replaced. I've never even driven it since it's been like this, except for around the yard. But that was just to see what it would feel like. You know, front Rancho suspension. It's hard to see it, but it's got the Rancho quick lift in the front. I've painted them so they don't look like what they should look like, but that's what they are. And you can see baby back there. See the adjustment screw. It's down there somewhere. But here's the rears. Again, I painted these just for any future people. These have no miles on them at all. You can see how rough they look. They're kind of dirty. I've been welding and, you know, cleaning stuff and whatever. But aside from that, they just don't hold up very good. I had them on the truck, just sitting on the truck, not driven anywhere, and they started getting pitted and rusted. I painted them a different color. They're still silver, but they're not the silver they came in. And I just noticed this. I was just messing with it. Listen to this. Isn't that knob? It's really tight too. Barely wants to adjust. It's supposed to be a 9-way adjustable knob. I'm only turning it like a quarter way, and it should turn. I think it should turn a full turn, if not at least a half a turn. Right? It ain't going no. It ain't doing that. You know, again, wheel spacers I've got on it. Brand new brake caliper. Brand new brake caliper in the front. So I got another one on the other side. That's new. Brake line's new. This brake line snapped when we took it off. Yeah, you can see that's a new line. The steel line is the top, and then this rubber line's all new. And got the Iron Mans in the back. What else? I did front CVs. Rear CVs are still the ones that came on the truck. I don't know if they were replaced. I imagine they probably had been. They were pretty solid, but the fronts came out. Like, as soon as I pulled on it, it like split from the CV. Both of them did that. So they were kind of a mess. This truck honestly is a mess. It's, you know, I cleaned it up. Look at the frame. It's kind of tough to see, but I cleaned it up. I ground her down. I painted the hell out of it. You know, and I guess I'm gonna have to do that every year if I want to take care of it. It was just a 3,000 mile truck when I bought it, and it was only meant to last me until it didn't. And since then, I've done so much money and work on it, and I'm afraid to even, you know, get rid of it like that. So here's the welds we did on this side. Get the frame all nice and strong. We did the same thing on the other side. So I'll keep you up to date as soon as I get this little fill taken care of. Let's get this out of the way because I'm pretty much done the welding on the outer part of it. We're going to move on to the inside and get that done, and I'll show you the complete project.